In this video, I'm going to go over how to get a fake bokeh effect. I might not be pronouncing that right. Bokeh? I'm going to pronounce it as bokeh for the rest of the video. Anyway, here's a piece from Jo Anne Lind-Egen. She has mastered this effect. She can do it better than I can. I gave her a couple of tips, but she certainly has explored it much further than I have. Um, Here's one that I did. I don't think I was really going for a bokeh as much as some kind of dissolve thing, but I was looking for examples and I couldn't find too many that I've done. And then this is one that I did, which is kind of an extreme version of this effect. And I don't think I'll go over how to do this, but maybe as just something to inspire you. All right, we're gonna use this frog pick. I'm gonna launch Stipple. Gonna start it over. Sorry. All right, so I'll go ahead and throw the frog in, but we won't even actually. I'll throw it in the paint layer, but we're not actually even going to use it right away. I'm going to hit start drawing, and right away, all right, I'm going to click over to background, and first, well, actually, so on color map, I'm going to uncheck it. So now we've got no image loaded. For background, I'm going to click the frog up in the gallery to push it into the background slot, and then I'm going to adjust the size of it. Adjusting the size is done with this reposition button um, right here. Click it once to get into reposition mode. Click it again to lock what you did. There's a separate video on that, so I'm not going to go into detail. Um, okay, so now just with the frog, I'm going to give us a dark background. With just the frog and in the background, and no source images loaded in your draw image, color map, mask, nothing. Go to the color palette, pick white, change the opacity to maybe about 1/3 of the way, change the hardness just a tad, maybe 90% hardness. All right, next, and this is important and this is a little tricky. You got to hit this plus button, and the plus button will be glowing when you do it. So when plus is off, plus is on. So now plus looks like it made your dot size smaller. In fact, it opened up the scale of the dot size to then be much bigger. So say when the dot is when the plus is not on, this is how big the dots are going to be, very tiny. In the max you can get them is still not too big. But if you hit this plus, you'll be able to get the dots much, much larger. Okay, and now I'm going to turn the brush size down, and I'm going to turn the density all the way down. So now what's going to happen when I touch the screen, let's maybe turn this opacity down a little bit more. So now when I go to draw, I'm just going to be drawing single, like if you tap the screen, you'll just get one dot at a time. And I'm just dotting out these single bokeh dots. Um, you can change the color of the dot. So say you wanted green to kind of match this image a little bit more. Um, and I think that the green looks pretty good up top. You can also change the dot size to get it smaller if you wanted to get a couple of tiny bokehs down. Uh, so that's the most basic way to do it. We'll call that it's this is an interesting thing is that when you see the background has the little box in it, but draw map, color map, mask not lit up at all. So basically you're just using Stipple as a dot drawer and it's not even doing anything amazing besides just putting down some slightly foggy dots. Um, but we can get this to be a little bit more involved. I'm not even going to say a little bit better because I think that a lot of Jo Anne's work is actually done that way, and she does a fantastic job. But if you've watched anything or looked at any of my art or watched any of my videos, you'll know that I like to overcomplicate things. So let's proceed. Um, so one quick trick, and we'll stick with the we'll stick with a green dot, and we will go with glow. Now what glow does, and we'll turn the hardness, nah, we'll keep the hardness as it was. Glow makes the dots, let's make these dots a little bit bigger. Glow makes the dots glow. I mean, just as its name says. So it gives our bokeh like a little bit more tone to it. Although, oops, trashed that. Um, so this could be an effect, but it very quickly piles up. Glow just turns into a bunch of glow, like just a bunch of glowy dots. Um, so that might not be, you might not always want that. You might not find that that gives you optimum results. And if you do glow with white, you'll probably find that not much happens at all. Yeah, you see that because it just basically, what glow does is just puts white in the center of the dot and then blends that to whatever your chosen color is. So if you pick white and then use glow, you're just glowing. You're just going from white to white. It's not causing a glow illusion at all. So if you wanted to do something that was more of a monotone, you could just pick like a gray, but you might find that that puts a little bit of dark dark gray in your design that's just going to muddy things up. All right, I'm going to go back to normal mode. But what I'm going to do is, so with the background layer, you'll see this little arrow pointing to three little squares. Now, what if you press that, it's going to push that image, which we just repositioned. It's going to push that into our little draw gallery. So now if I click color map, now that selects the color map channel. And if I go click that image I just pushed to the gallery, now I've loaded my color map with the background. So what I'm doing is just drawing the same image over the top of the background. But what this will do, which is kind of cool, is it's gonna adjust our bokeh color. Let me go back to. It's gonna adjust our bokeh color. Let me trash that again. To match the background color itself. So now with the dark, that doesn't work that well because bokeh tends not to ever be dark colors. Since bokeh is basically light that's unfocused, I think that would probably be an accurate description of bokeh. You don't find that dark spots like won't make an authentic bokeh. It just kind of looks like a muddy dot. But in this in the brighter spots of the image, now I guess you can't see it that well. Maybe turn this up a little bit. And it creates kind of uh, a bokeh dot that matches the background source image. I'll trash that again. And you can apply this with glow too. And this might even give you a better effect because with glow, it's never going to give you a dark dot. It's always going to give you a bright dot. Now, this doesn't look very good. Um, this is looking like crap. But you get the point. You can do it. Sometimes glow does some weird things. It almost looks like a lens flare. Uh, and lens flares are probably something that could be built into Stipple at some point. So if we really want to overcomplicate things, you can take that same image that we pushed to the gallery in a few steps ago and push that into your draw image. So now I have the same image loaded in my background, my color map, and my draw image. And then go to the levels palette and make sure that you flip the gradient around by hitting this button so white is on the right. And now let's pick some dots that go from big to small. And actually, let's just go with some just big dots. So now what this is going to do is I'm going to shut the A off too. A is auto threshold if you're not familiar with it. We'll just leave this, we're going to turn auto threshold off and we're going to move our slider to about here. So what that's going to do is anything that's really dark is going to get cut off, but everything else is going to get this glowy effect. So now this is no longer in the range of bokeh. It's something else. It's some kind of weird glow stuff. But it's kind of a neat relationship if you load your draw if you load the same image in the color map as the draw image, because as I was saying, bokeh doesn't appear in or bokeh dark spots in an image don't produce bokeh. It is bright spots. So now if you're using the draw map, it's constraining your dots to the brighter spots of the area. Remember, you need to have the gradient right here on the right. It's constraining that, and it's also growing the dots to the darker or the brighter spots of the area. So the brighter spots get bigger bokeh. Now that was pretty crucial in that skull drawing that we looked at. Was using this bokeh effect, but also only constraining it to the bright spots of the skull itself. And then I think I tossed in just a bunch of just stray bokeh. This looks like I don't know, some kind of Christmas horror story or something, like the cover art for Christmas horror movie. Anyway, let's see. I probably rambled on 11 minutes. That's not too long. All right. Well, again, let's look at what Jo Anne did, because she's really the high water mark of all this. As you can see, I mean this looks like bokeh. If you didn't tell me that somebody had fiddled with it, I probably wouldn't even question. I'd just be like, wow, you certainly know how to get a lot of big bokeh dots in your picture. Anyway, this is great. I'm gonna stop now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for testing Stipple. And see what you can do.